You're tuned into the nation station DBS Radio. This is Focus on Government and Development. We've moved to the mornings right here on the national radio station. Our program will be repeated next week on Cairo FM and Q95 FM radio. This is the program that keeps you up to date with government activities or plans and programs, the policies that are in place to impact your lives positively. Of course, we hope to be with you here every Friday morning. As I said, we will repeat our program on the other radio stations, featuring various government ministers, parliamentary representatives, parliamentary secretaries, senior officials within the ministries, those responsible for bringing to life the plans and policies of this government. They'll tell you more, give you the information you need about the work that we are doing as government. Please allow me a moment to remember my friend and colleague, Fadina Frampton, who passed away on Wednesday. As many of you know, Fadina was a well-loved member of our media fraternity, highly respected by us all, and I dare say by all of Dominica. She was a distinctive and trusted voice on our airwaves and represented the very best of media practice on our island. Personally, she was a supportive friend and a confidant, and we're all shaken by her passing. It has definitely left a void in broadcasting in Dominica, and I believe we will feel the impact of her absence in so many ways for years to come. I take this opportunity on behalf of the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit and the government of Dominica to extend deepest condolences to her family, friends, her colleagues at Flow, and of course all of Dominica who have been touched by her passing. On today's program, we have with us for the first time with me on Focus on Government and Development, the Honorable Vince Henderson, a senior minister in the government of Dominica of many years of experience. He's the Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business, Trade and Energy, and he is our guest today on Focus on Government and Development. Honorable Minister Dr. Henderson, good morning and welcome to the program.
Well, good morning, Dion, and let me take the opportunity to extend condolences to you and the media fraternity, as well as the family and friends of the late Fadina Frampton. I want to extend especially condolences on the behalf of the Grand Bay constituency, since her mother was from the neighboring village, and her brothers in particular, very good friends. We wish to extend condolences to them as well, and we know that she will be greatly missed.
Yes, thank you. As I said, this is the first time here with me. I know you've been on this program before. You've certainly been on DBS Radio, but this is the first time we're getting the opportunity to talk, and you hold, your ministry is quite broad: foreign affairs, international business, trade, which has been in the news quite a bit in the past year or so, and energy. But I think today I want to focus heavily, and we can segue into other areas, but I want to focus heavily on the energy aspect of your ministry, because we are talking geothermal energy, which, like the International Airport project, is a major project ongoing in Dominica that has the potential to transform our economy here. So I want to start with that, and I want to get into the discussion on the development of geothermal energy and the implications for power generation in Dominica. Take us back a bit as a way of providing background on the project, how it got started, and how far we've come in the years that we've been exploring this prospect?
Well, before I get into that, of course, I want to say good morning to all the listeners, and now I understood viewers.
Yes.
I mean, we've come a long way, and I'm looking at you, Dion, and I remember when you were young, journalist. I don't know.
News reporter.
Yeah, news reporter. So you've come a long way, and I'm very happy to see you here.
Thank you.
And so I want to say a special good morning to all our listeners, and want to thank DBS Radio and especially GIS, the Government Information Service, and the Government of Dominica for inviting me to this program. For me, it's a great pleasure to really share information, something that I enjoy doing, I must say. And I did share. I've been here with Fadina. I remember in the days, and she used to trouble me a bit, I remember her, the distinctive voice, and and the enthusiasm and laughter. So for me, it's a pleasure being here. Geothermal energy. Oh my goodness. I've been carrying this thing for 20 plus years.
Wow.
And I finally feel in that I'm feeling the pressure getting off, but not quite yet, because there's still lots of work to be done. But we have come a long, long way. So, taking us back, really, the government has been invested in geothermal energy for about 2 decades. I mean, but in earnest, it's about a decade and a half since we have been putting in our resources into this project. And we have, in the Roseau Valley, because we have proven the resource there. And when I speak of the Roseau Valley, for those of you who so long you don't come Dominica and you're listening, you know the place where they have the waterfalls. Well, not quite there, but just above there is the main area in Loda. So going closer to the freshwater lake. So in Loda, we have drilled wells there and proven that we have geothermal resource potential in Dominica enough to really transmit and to generate, to transmit and to distribute throughout Dominica. So we have done that. We have made investments so far of close to $50 million US, and half of which been grants that we've been able to attract from friends, from donors, from bilateral partners, from institutions. And having done that, we have gotten to the stage where we're ready to actually build a power plant and to get the power to Domlec through a transmission system, which will take us from the Roseau Valley all the way to Fokole. So we have made great progress, and we are very excited about where we are now, because we are at the stage where we are ready to actually start work on the power plant.
Thank you for that background, but I must ask, Mr. Minister, you referenced having worked on this project for 20 years, and I think the Dominican people always have this question at the forefront of their mind. Why has it taken so long to bring this ambitious project to completion? Yeah,
that every time I say 20 years, that's a question I always hear ringing in my ears. So let's just back a bit. The government of Dominica, the people of Dominica, has been eyeing geothermal for let's say 50 years, thereabout. Yeah, 50 years actually. Almost 50 years. This year makes it 50 years, because a little more, because in 1974, we passed the first Geothermal Act by the Labour Party under the leadership of Yoli Blanc. So we have been pursuing this for a while. But why it took us 20 years? So when we got into office, we started the discussion on geothermal energy, and we got assistance from the OAS at the time, the Organization of American States, and other partners that came to Dominica and throughout the Eastern Caribbean and started doing some work. Now, the thing about geothermal energy, it is not like solar. Solar, you buy the panels, you buy 2 batteries, you buy an inverter and some wires, and you connect, and that's it. But in the case of geothermal energy, you have to first prove that you have the resource. So you have to drill. And for those people who may be listening and don't quite understand what this is. So really what we do, you drill, and when you drill almost a mile down. I try to figure from here to where I'll give you a mile. If you're going on the west coast, but that's taking you all by Woodbridge Bay, somewhere down there. It's a mile. So imagine you have to drill that deep. So it's not an easy thing. It's not like buying a generator as well and connecting the wires and you have power and put fuel in it. So we have to first prove the resource by drilling almost a mile down. Once you've done that, then you have to go through the testing. So you first have to test to see, boy, is this really good? So what comes up when you drill that deep, you get the steam. So the steam comes up, is hot, sometimes 260 degrees. It's really hot. And that steam, in our case, comes at a certain pressure. So you have to make sure you have the right pressure. The temperature has to be right. And importantly, as St. Lucia learned in the 90s, if there are other substances, impurities, sulfur, high sulfur content, for example, and you've been to Watton-Waven and you take the smell like, spoiled eggs or something. So the sulfur content is also important. So you have to test all of this and run it for a while and make sure that you have it right. So that has to be done, and that takes time and money.
Yeah.
To drill one well, first of all, to get the rig is the equipment that they use to go down. To bring that rig down, that alone is $1 million US, just to bring it here from, in our case, Iceland. And then we had to start drilling, that's another $2 to $4 million US. By the way, when I quote the figures, I quote it in US dollars. I'll try to use the EC. But so it's very expensive, very costly, and very technical. So there are not many people in the world doing this. There are a few companies, and you have to get their interest. And Dominica is a small country, small market, small project, and it's difficult to attract the right people. So it took us some time getting all of these things right. But don't forget in between, and I'm not saying Dominicans have memory pool, no memoir pool. I don't like that, because everybody in the world have the same kind of memory problem. They seem to forget things very quickly, and we move to the next thing. And that is just the way we are, and I don't think it's a criticism. But, remember we got hit by 2 hurricanes in between. During that time we're talking about, sometimes I hear people talk and they forget, like, as if there was a gap. There was a major gap. We had Tropical Storm Erica. We lost about 60 people. We lost 2 communities. Petit Savan and Dubik. I mean, we lost those communities. We had to relocate them. And then remember, we got hit by Maria. And after Maria came COVID. So I don't know how people counting. I mean, if I'm counting, I would take a pause, a gap, and say, hey, okay, we've lost those. But in spite of that, we still continue investing. So we invested. And I always have to take the opportunity to thank the Prime Minister, because he gave that leadership after Maria. I was out. I was not in the cabinet at the time. I was just an advisor on this project. And he told me, we're going ahead.
Yeah.
And we made progress since. We got the World Bank involved. And the World Bank tried, but they too failed in the tender process, because the project they had designed, the market wanted more money than what the World Bank was willing to provide for that project. So that didn't work out. That, again, we lost some time. And then came COVID.
So it begs the question, Honorable Henderson, with all these setbacks, with all these challenges we've experienced as a state, what is the justification? Why did the government decide that it was worth it to stick with this project?
You're asking all the right questions. You should have passed me on questions. But this is excellent, because I want to connect that with another point that I wish to make, that generally a geothermal project will take about 10 years to develop. From the inception to actual getting power on the grid, about 10 years. So, yeah. But I said in Dubai, I said in the parliament the other day, I said in Dubai when we signed the agreement to build the power plant, that we didn't choose geothermal because it's easy. We chose geothermal because of the potential to transform Dominica. And that is what it is. I mean, obviously, first thing, we have the potential. Some islands don't. So we have the potential, and we see how it can help to transform Dominica's energy landscape, but also the economy. We could change things around, because one of the highest costs of operations, energy, electricity. And as the hoteliers, as the small business owners, and all of us at our homes, we know what it is to have to pay your light bill. So we're doing this because of the potential. And I will add as well, Dion, that it is one of the most resilient forms of renewable energy that you can get, because solar and wind are good. They have their place, but they also have some serious challenges that geothermal doesn't have. Because once you go, you drill, you come up, you build a plant, that plant can withstand, you build a proper housing or the proper facilities for that plant. You don't have to worry about hurricanes, because it's not like panels that can be blown away or broken because some flying object, knocks it up. And, it's not like wind as well. And in addition to that, geothermal energy goes 24/7. It just keeps going. It's a gift that keeps on giving, according to a friend of mine, It's a gift that keeps on giving. It doesn't stop as long as you maintain it properly. So occasionally you will have to obviously turn the generators off, turn the turbines off, so that you can maintain and make sure that they're working properly. We have to ensure the reservoir, that's where the steam is coming from, is in good condition. So you do your test and so forth, maintenance. So, but it is a 24/7. Once crank, that's it. It just keeps going. So there is no sun, because I got solar, and I can tell you, man, they say if you have kako outside, you look for rain. Well, I mean, I look for cloud. I just say, once I see cloud, I say, we dumb like. So, so solar has that limitation. It means that you still have to use diesel generation if you have solar power. Let's get that right. You still have to use diesel generation, or the alternative is to have so much battery storage that you can go on for days without charging from the sun. Wind is the same thing. The wind is intermittent.
Yeah.
Your wind goes and wind stops. And I was saying the other day, I remember when I was growing up in St. Joe, we used to fly kites. When you send your kite up on a rich yard and you're watching the wind die on you, and you have to roll back all that thread, it's trouble, So it's just like wind power. Same thing. The wind dies, no power.
Yeah, this is very on the nose stuff, very specific, and I wonder if you could get a little bit more specific about. You've spoken about the general benefits. How exactly do we expect our electricity consumers to benefit from a geothermal plant in operation?
Well, I have been very cautious about that from the years, but I can say with a great degree of certainty there will be a reduction.
Okay.
What I cannot say at this time, and I don't think it is proper for me to say, I am not the regulator. The regulator has a final word. But we have signed an agreement with Ormat Technologies of Nevada, USA, to ensure that we can get a cost of generation. In other words, we will sell power to Domlec. Ormat will sell power to Domlec at a rate that is much lower than what it currently costs to generate electricity with diesel generators. It will not be the hydro, because hydro has been an old investment where that has been paid for already, and hydro will still remain the lowest, the cheapest. But in terms of from diesel, it will knock off your fuel surcharge, so we won't be paying fuel surcharge. Right now it's about 40 US cents, no, about 50 EC. About 50 EC for fuel surcharge. We will knock that off for the amount of diesel generations we'll be moving out of the generation. So we'll be producing 10 kilowatts of power. So in other words, you will knock off diesel generators that will give you that amount of power. So it means that is diesel that you will not be using, and it will reduce the fuel surcharge significantly. It will be almost zero by the time we get to the north, because by the time we get the power to the north, we can now shut down the generators at Sugarloaf. But we won't be able to shut down all the diesel generators yet, but we'll be able to shut down at least 80% of them, which means we'll see a reduction in fuel surcharge. In addition to that, it's already costing to generate power from, your bill now is about $1 per kilowatt hour, 1 EC dollar per kilowatt hour. We will be buying the power from Ormat at a maximum of about 40 EC per kilowatt hour. So we're already looking at a significant reduction. Obviously, Domlec has to charge you for getting the power to your house and maintaining the lines. So it won't be reduced to 40 cents, but it will be reduced close enough, because by the time Domlec takes it 10 or 20 cents per kilowatt hour, you have a serious reduction. So it will be a significant reduction.
Honorable Henderson, that's exactly why I wanted you on the program, because I think I and others listening like to hear, because geothermal always presents itself as a very complicated thing, and we like to hear the specifics of it, and I think you're doing a good job so far of breaking it down. I want to go back to Ormat. Why did the government take this decision to sign this agreement with this particular company, and how did that come about?
I'm trying, you are so professional that I have to keep this thing as professional as can be.
No, you can be Vince.
But I am, well, that I can change. And that's why some people have a good problem with that, sorry to say. But I can change that part. But I'm also an elected member of Parliament. I represent the people of the Grand constituency, and a special good morning to them, and thank them again for their continued support and everything good that they bring to my life. But I must say, so I will answer that by saying, it have a fella who is the leader of the main opposition party. And who said that is some fellas I met in Dubai, and I just signed an agreement with. So that's why I'm saying I got to get a little, out of your format so far. But OMAT is one of the best known companies in geothermal energy production in terms of building power plants. Not as a developer. They're less a developer, but more as a vendor, as a developer of the plants itself, but not as for projects. In this case, they are a developer. They will be operating the plant for 25 years, operating and maintaining it. But they provide 80% of the equipment for geothermal power generation in the world, using binary technology. Binary technology is what we'll be using. It is the cleanest form of geothermal power generation because it is a closed system. It means that everything that comes up will go back down. Once it's used, water, of course, will be thrown away, but the other impurities, the sulfides, all the stuff, they will go back into the ground. So that is what they're best known for. So they are the biggest. They have plants over 33 countries in the world, over 33 power plants, and they're the world leader by far. They are also interested in our neighborhood. They're in Bouillat, they're in Guadeloupe. They've been there for the last maybe 5 or so years when they bought over the operations in Bouillat, and now they are in process of expanding Bouillat and drilling new wells and doubling their capacity from 15 megawatts now to 30 megawatts. So they're well known. And it's a company that have been recommended to us by the World Bank as well, because they are one of the two companies that tendered on the project when the World Bank was leading the process. And they also tendered again when we were in negotiations with the French consortium. So they have a great track record, and really and truly doesn't get better than that. I mean, there are just a few companies. I know most of the players in the industry because I've been around long enough. The other good companies from Italy, Turbogen, my good friend Joseph Bonafin, they are the other leaders. So if you're looking for a company, you go to them next. And there are some other lesser known companies like Exergy and all these guys out there. But really and truly, OMAT is a gold standard for binary technology in geothermal energy.
Yes, during the meeting of Parliament in late December, some concerns were raised about aspects of the agreement. For example, the 25-year period during which OMAT will run the enterprise, and how Dominica stands to benefit from that arrangement. From where you sit, from your perspective, how does Dominica come out the winner in all of this?
So let's go back to how we got there. So we've been trying this for a while. We've put money in there. We've worked with the World Bank to get this done. That didn't quite work out. And we found ourselves right now, coming from Tropical Storm Erica, Hurricane Maria, COVID, the resources of the state have been strained and must go to ensuring that we can continue providing goods and services to our people. We have programs that have to ensure that we continue to finance them. And if we were to take $60 million into this project right now, it means that there's a $60 million that we'll not be able to use for other stuff. And people are always asking for other stuff. I mean, that is just the reality of our existence and governance. People are always asking for stuff. The fact is, we had to make a decision when we realized that instead of building a small power plant as we were pursuing with the World Bank, we needed to go to 10. So instead of 7, we say, let's increase that by 3 megawatts. The cost went up, but also what became a requirement was the need to take that power from the Roseau Valley to Domlec's network in Focole, because we cannot use the existing system that Domlec has to take that power to Focole. Mm-hmm. And that is like $30 million US. Actually, it's closer to 40 million because we're trying to build in resilience. Well, we're building resilience into it. Some components will be underground, and some will be overhead with bigger towers, not the little poles that we used to. So that it is costing a lot more than it would normally because we are inserting resilience. Now, you never know you need something until you need it, right? So when the poles went down, we just realized, oops, we are building to ensure that we do not get into that position again. And if we do, it will be for a shorter period of time. If we get hit, God forbid, by a major hurricane. So we've had to make an arrangement that will not require the state government of Dominica, the people of Dominica, to contract a loan, to take CBI funds and to put it into this project. So it's a number of things. I mean, for us, honestly, having been doing this for a while, the ideal would be for the government to just finance this. Whether it's through CBI, whether it's through grant, whether it's through, well, no, not grants, you won't get enough grants for that, but a loan, that would be a good thing because it means that we would be able to do other stuff. But it means that when you're running a government, you have several interests to consider.
Yeah.
You know, it's like running your home. You got kids and everybody needs something. You have to make a choice at some point. So we took that decision to bring in OMAT as the developer to make the investment. How it benefits us is that we don't have to go looking for the money. We don't have to take the debt. We don't have to displace other money for other services, goods and services of the country into it, because this is a viable project that can finance it, that can pay itself. So the guys have come and take the risk, and they're willing to raise all the money to do this. We get in a lower tariff than we would if we were with diesel, so we need to do this, because the other question is, should we do this? Some people are asking, is no deal better than this deal? And I'm saying, my brother, after 20 years, you really want to ask me that question, because we cannot control the price of fuel, of diesel. And you see what's happening in the world. I mean, the Red Sea is a very active place now.
Yeah.
And this is going to, unfortunately, I hate to be the breaker of the bad news to the people of Dominica, but it's going to have an effect on us. The cost of living is going to have an effect on the cost of goods. It's going to have an effect on the cost of fuel, because the route that now the ships are being forced to take is much longer. And it's longer, it means that it's more costly. So geothermal takes that away from us, that concern about a year down the road, 2 years down the road, when we see some escalation in the price of diesel again. Mm-hmm. And it will happen. I'm not a betting man, but it will happen. So making this investment with a partner who can actually bring the resources, get this done, and in 25 years, hand this over to you to run it. Now, some people are concerned, 25 years is a long time. Boy, when I went to Wairaki in New Zealand, the plan there was 60 years and running. You have to have serious maintenance plan, right? You must maintain it properly. You must have some sustainable practices in the use of the resource so that it's not depleted too quickly. We have that. And we are fortunate because we don't have one well for production. We have 3 wells. We are only going to produce 10 megawatts, but we have the potential for 22 based on the wells we have. So in terms of the steam. So in 25 years, the Dominican people, the next generation of Dominicans, will have a plant free of charge. All they have to do is operate and maintain it. So it is to the benefit of the Dominican people, and we will have the immediate benefit, and then we'll have a future benefit, which for me is a big thing, because 25 years from now, it's at least we can leave a legacy for our kids.
It's already 2 minutes past 10 o'clock. For those of you who will be listening to this program on Cairo FM and Q95 FM at nights, our live program goes out every Friday, we hope, at 9:30 a.m. on DBS Radio. Of course, on all our social media platforms. This is the return of Focus on Government and Development. Our guest this morning, the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business, Trade and Energy, Honorable Dr. Vince Henderson. We're discussing geothermal energy. Just wanted to inform you that the lines will be open. I'm sure you too may have your questions that you want to pose to the Honorable Minister. 1-800-327-305-432-9744. The local number again, 448-3281, 448-3279. You can call in and pose your questions to the Honorable Minister. Share your thoughts on geothermal energy and its potential for the development of our country. Honorable Minister, I'm back with you. The Parliament meeting I referenced earlier in late December, it took place because the government of Dominica was seeking a $13 million loan guarantee to secure the arrangements in the agreement. Can you explain to the Dominican people why it was necessary to seek that guarantee?
That's a good one. And we know we explained this, we went to the lens, but I think it's important, and that's why I took my time in the Parliament to walk through this, because I know people will be asking a question, and some people may misconstrue this as getting a loan to build the plant. No, it's not a loan to build the plant, and it's a guarantee, as you said. So what happened when we approached Ormat? Ormat had already won the tender when we were in partnership with the French, and even when we were when we had presented a project with the World Bank. So we were advised, as I said, by the World Bank to approach Ormat to enter into an agreement so that they could be a developer on this project. We approached them and we said to them, we need this now. And I guess they didn't understand how urgently we needed this. But when they learned of the challenges that Domlec had faced last summer, they realized, yeah, okay, you really need this now. But they said to us, yeah, we can move. Because generally, let me explain, when a project of this magnitude is being done, you're talking about a 64 million US dollar project. The developer will bring in equity. Equity is your money, your own money you put in. So you want to start a little bar by the road, you have some money in the bank, you take your money, you buy two plywood, you buy some sand, some cement, some sand, you put out the foundation. That is yours, that's your sweat, that's your equity, that's your contribution. Right? Now, they would bring in, so a developer like Ormat would bring in equity, and then they will go to a lender, a bank. All right? We call them lenders because some of them are not always strictly considered to be bank. They could be like the OPIC, which is really a bank, but it's more a facility by the U.S. government. So they will, or the CARICOM Development Fund, that is not a bank, really, it's just a fund. So they will approach a lender, a financer, a company that does this, to say that we bring in 30% of our own money and we would like you to give us the rest. So they put in 15 million US dollars. And they're saying, you know what, the other 48 million, we need to get that from a lender. So they said, if you would go that normal route, it will take you 6 to 9 months. After we finish negotiating with them, that is, we negotiate a deal, an agreement, to see what they are responsible for and what we are responsible for. So that's the agreement we signed, right? Now, the financing agreement is something now they have to go and get the lender to say, we put 30%, give us 70% of the rest of the money to build that plant. That process itself could take 6 to 9 months. So it means that they have to prepare, they have to do due diligence, well, 3 to 6 months, really. I don't want to exaggerate. 3 to 6 months is the standard. If you ask the Caribbean Development Bank, if you go to the IDB, the Inter-American Development Bank, they will tell you it will take 3 to 6 months because you have to do what they call due diligence. They have to determine that this project is viable because it's a project financing. It's not like building a wall or a road where the government takes a loan and all it has to do is to sign and say, yes, we will pay. This one has to be proven to be a viable project on its own, that it will be able to continue to operate even if a hurricane hits, that you can service your loan, your debt. So they said to us, well, if you want us to start now, we won't have 3 to 6 months to negotiate with a lender. So what we can do is start the project for you immediately. Once we've frozen, we've signed the agreement with you on how we're going to do this. What is our responsibility? What is the government of Dominica's responsibility? How does Dominic come into this? And the IRC gives licenses. Once we get this, we can start using our own funds. And during that time, we will work to get a lender. So, but for us to do that, we're going to put money up. We're going to put money at risk. We will be developing a project. So what if tomorrow you change your mind and say, boy, I don't think I like that geothermal thing again. I suspect the sun better. Not sure. I find the solar thing might be better because plenty of people say it's better. Not because you prove it's better, it's because plenty of people say it's better. So you bow to that. And you say, guys, forget that geothermal thing. All the fellas, all the, I don't know. So if the government would take a decision like that, the guys would have lost their money and they would have no recourse. Legally, there's no obligation on our side. So they would just lose money. So they're saying we don't want to take that risk. We want you to guarantee that if you change your mind before we can get a lender, so before we can get a bank to give us the rest of the money, you change your mind, we want you to give us back, well, not all our money, but $5 million US from what we have actually spent. Now, by 3 to 6 months, these guys are expected to have already invested more than $5 million US. But we're able to negotiate with them and say, no. The only amount we can commit is $5 million. We can put as a guarantee is $5 million. We cannot put $20 million, which is what they expect to have already invested by that time. So The good news about this is we are working with them already, with lenders, because we had started that conversation long before. We've been working with the Caribbean Development Bank for over, 2 years now. We've been working with them on that project. So they're prepared to come in as a lender. The CARICOM Development Fund, which people don't know much about, but is a special facility created for countries like Dominica in CARICOM to help them deal with the common market and economy from CARICOM. So we have already spoken to those lenders, and they're prepared to make the funds available. On the 29th of January, CARICOM, CDB and the CARICOM Development Fund will be on island. OMAT is expected as well, so that we can start discussions on financing of that plan. So I thank the Minister of Finance and the Financial Secretary for coordinating and organizing that meeting, so that we can see quick movement. So it will not take the 3 to 6 months. Perhaps it will take less time than that, and they would release the guarantee that we have at the National Development Bank. They will release that guarantee, and it will no longer have that commitment to them, because as soon as they get a financer, a lender, then they will release the guarantee. So that's what it is. That's how it came about. Because I heard some people trying to becoming very creative on this. I am guilty, because I am the one who came up with I'm the one who put the pressure on them to deliver, and that was their response. I told Fred, hey, we got to keep the pressure on this guy. They need to start as soon as we sign, and that's what they came back with.
Mm-hmm. You referenced just a while ago a $20 million investment figure. I don't know if you remember saying that. Does that mean we already have a clear idea of what the construction of the plant will cost?
Yeah, it's $63 million. That's the first run. That's a run we made. Now they're revising their EPC part of it.
63 million
US. Sorry.
I remember
oh gosh,
you did say all your figures are quoted in US.
So they have already done the design, the preliminary design, but the detailed engineering drawings, the EPC, that is more of the civil works. So they have to close the civil works with a local contractor. Mm-hmm. So they have to finalize that. They have a few that they've been talking to, well-known local contractors who will provide the civil works. So in other words, to build walls and roads and whatever structures that they're going to put up will be done by local companies that they will be contracted. Well, I hope they stick to that. We can't force them, because what we have signed is we've frozen what they can charge them for the sale of power. So because of that, it is difficult for us to instruct them on where to go. I'll go tell them, hire my partner down the road, because, Mr. is a good partner of mine. They have to ensure that it fits within their calculations, so that they can give the Dominican people what we have promised them that we will give them. Yeah.
Of course, we've said, the government of Dominica has said that it will construct a new transmission system to Fonkole. That funding for that will be sought separately.
Yes, and that has already been secured, identified, and will be finalized in the coming months. So that transmission system is a huge investment. So what we will be doing, so we have hydro coming from the valley as well. So we're connecting hydro and geothermal in terms of the transmission. So we'll take the power from the 3 hydro plants, connect them to the geothermal power, hit down to Fonkole. So we're making a loop around the valley, but we will still maintain the existing line. So that is an alternative. So we will find ourselves with a sort of a redundant system, where we will have our high voltage 69 kilovolts of power going down to Fonkole. We have 33 as well going around the valley, and that we can ensure that we have a reliable system of getting all the power from the Rosa Valley to Fonkole in as a resilient way as possible. Because after Hurricane Maria, we did a consultancy, and we studied how we could build a resilient network. And it is that consultancy that is also advising some of the things that we've done in the design for that transmission line, so that we don't get hit as we did by Hurricane Maria.
I listened to your presentation in Parliament, and you also referenced a battery storage system for Fonkole and Sugarloaf. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, it was the eve of Maria I signed that agreement. I got my minister at the time, Honorable Ian Douglas, who signed that agreement. So we've been pursuing a battery storage system for a while, for years, to be built in Fonkole, but it will complement the geothermal project. And because of the delays, both have been delayed. It was not deliberate. A number of things changed in the marketplace, COVID hit, and then so forth. And then it was difficult to get the contractor on island. The delay had some cost implications, and then we had to go back to the drawing board. So that facility, what it will do, it will store power. So it is batteries, the same batteries that you use for solar. If you have a solar system, that is the battery storage that you use. So what it was designed to do, and I mean, I don't want to take credit, but it was something I created because I went to a...
If you created it, why not take credit?
Well, I felt I like to boast, but I don't like to boast myself. But no. So what happened some years ago? I went to a conference in Abu Dhabi with the International Renewable Energy Agency, and there the Minister of International Development from the UAE offered a program for the Caribbean, and I was the leader in the Caribbean on renewable energy at those days. I was the chairman of SIDSDOC, and I went to Abu Dhabi. We had this presentation, and we decided, well, Dominica has to be in there, so we're going to have to get our $5 million too. So we decided to apply for $5 million. So when we approached them, we said to them, can you finance part of the geothermal project? They said, unfortunately, they can't. Mm-hmm. They can't. They prefer solar. They didn't say that, but they prefer solar. And they said because of the nature of the geothermal project, they can't invest in it because we already negotiated with a developer. So we came up with this idea. I said, you know what if we just invest in some battery storage that could take the excess geothermal power, store it, keep it there when it's needed, if it's needed, and bring it on the grid. So how that works is because once the geothermal plant starts, you don't shut it down. You only shut it down for maintenance. So it just keeps working. It's not like, no, diesel generators will work. If there is power, one will kick. If there's no power, it will go off. So if you go to Focalay, you see the system. So the thing goes up and down. The production can be regulated. But geothermal, it goes flat. There's some technology that says it can move, but, it's going flat. So what we say, nighttime, we only consume 40% of the power.
Yeah.
So DBS closed, you don't have aircon running, all ministry closed, aircon shut down since 5 o'clock. So all that is power that is not being demanded from the grid. So businesses shut down, the power demand goes down because things are not working. So it means that the geothermal power will just be there, wasted. So we were trying to figure out, but how do we make use of that power during that time? So I came up with this idea that if we have a battery storage system, we could charge the battery during those hours. So we have power there. And at Focalay, instead of Dominica running a diesel generator, keep running just in case something goes wrong with the one that is given the power, that it will kick to the one that is there just idling. So they call it, they have a nice term for it in the industry. So you have spinning reserves. Spinning reserves mean that it's always there. So if you need it, you call it. But it's costly because you have to pay for the diesel because it's running. So you pay for diesel. So all our bills, we're not paying for all what we're using. We're paying for always having power as well. So with this battery storage, we will no longer need to run a diesel generator just waiting to see if another one goes down or has a problem. Now, unfortunately, for them, all of them went down. So that's why we had the blackouts. So the battery storage will provide that backup for about half an hour so that they can figure what is going wrong and see if it's a wire, somebody trip and pull and put it back. Well, it doesn't work that way, really. But, just in case there's a fault that they would have time fix. And the discussion was moving around also utilizing that battery storage for intermittent supply. So solar, if there's solar coming, instead of it going to people's homes or the grid, that's if you have solar power that you bring back into Domlec system, that would go to charging that battery rather than being utilized because of the fact that you have clouds, and when cloud comes, you have no power from solar panels. So it has dual use, and it is something that we came up with, and hopefully we'll see work starting this year. Well, not hopefully, because I just had a letter to sign. I will do it as soon as I get to the office. I was informed while I was on the road in Grand Bay yesterday that the guys had sent us a document that they need our approval so that they can go ahead and instruct the contractor to start work in the coming months. So we will see work started there. We had acquired the land, very expensive land, and we had done some work there. The contractor said it wasn't enough, so we are overcoming that now, and we should see actual construction and installation of that battery storage system there. That is about $5 million US. We have another one that will be installed in Sugarloaf sometime. So we're hoping that we'll get the final approval on that one. Is something that I discussed while I was out in Dubai. And we're hoping that we would have signed there, but we had some delays, and I'm hoping that we will see some movement in the coming weeks.
It's already 20 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock. We're winding down our program. I don't know about you, but I've learned already quite a bit during the past 40 minutes or so. I thank the Honorable Minister for putting it in simple terms. I want to wind up that aspect of the discussion, Honorable Henderson, because I must touch on what's going on in the Grand Bay constituency. But I want to wind up by giving you the opportunity to speak to the timeline for this project, your expectations, your level of confidence in whether we are able to achieve our goals. You mentioned that ORMAT, CDB, and what was the other one?
CARICOM Development Fund.
CARICOM Development Fund would be in Dominica later this month. So talk to us about what happens next.
Okay, so I'll tell you, fingers crossed after we signed in Dubai, I was like, I was not celebrating. People were like, yeah, let's take a tour. I said, sorry, I can't. Because I still felt that there was so much to be done. Because when we signed the agreement has 30 days for each side to do a number of things. And it's only when the sides are able to do those things that the contract takes effect. So in other words, they call them legally conditions precedent. So they are conditions precedent to the effectiveness of the contract. And once you've met those, they say again, in their nice legal terms, that you've met effectiveness of the contract. So last week, we got effectiveness. And I'm so happy, I'm happy. I'm still, fingers crossed. Not too happy, so I'm not toasting yet. No cartwheels or high fives and so. So we try to keep it down. But what happened, so we signed on the 5th of December in Dubai. And then by the 4th of January, we got effectiveness achieved. Once we've gotten that, and to do that, Dominica had to give the guarantee of the $5 million that we approved in Parliament. That was done. ORMAT had to give a guarantee of $2.75 million for environmental protection. That they have done. $3 million to DOMLEC. That they have done, just to say, and the $3 million is in the event that they delay bringing the plant online, DOMLEC can start spending that money because it was costing them. So that is there. And the environmental fund is to ensure that once the project is done, or if they mess up and they abandon it, we'll use that money to restore the area. There's not much restoration needed, really, but that is a facility that we created again when we drafted the Geothermal Resource Development Bill, which is now the Act. We put this in place to have environmental safety and protection. So we've met effectiveness a week ago, and now we are moving into actual implementation. So the first thing that you normally do in those projects, you have a kickoff. You have a kickoff meeting. All the parties meet, you agree, and you set up timelines, confirm stuff. So on the 26th of January, we'll be having that meeting. And the 29th, we'll meet with CDB, the Caribbean Development Bank, and the CARICOM Development Fund. We meet with ORMAT so we can continue pursuing financing. The manager has already applied for and received, I would hope, I need to confirm, the work permit for he and his family to be on island. We had the first visit last month, early in the month, of the manager of the Bouillante plant from ORMAT, who was on island. He met with the community, had some discussions with them, explain what will be done and what they should expect and so forth. So that happened earlier this month. We will be seeing movements on the ground. So the designs are taking place now, the finalization of the EPC, the engineering, procurement, and construction contract being finalized. I know that our team and theirs have done some back and forth, so that should be confirmed soon. And once that is done, the design of the plant is continuing. So all the components, they are designing and manufacturing in their factory, that is ORMAT. And we expect to see real action on the ground within maybe 6 months. Those things take time because of all the preparation. But we may see some little movements because teams have been back and forth. Even while we were negotiating, there were teams from ORMAT doing back and forth coming in, and they were also engaging locals to do some work for them, studies and so forth, to ensure that everything is okay. So the work has started. Well, continues. I don't say started because we were moving on even before that, and we expect to see completion of construction by December 2025, and commissioning about a month later. That is testing everything running, making sure everything okay, and then Dominica has the power. That's it.
I saw a couple calls coming in while you were talking, but I did not want to interrupt your flow because it's
Sorry.
really good information. But before we leave, we have about 5 more minutes on the program. I want you to touch a bit on your constituency, what's going on there. We know the housing project in Center is ongoing. Just bring us up to date on what's going on in your neck of the woods.
It's a good thing you say that here because
Honorable Minister, let me just take that call.
Take it.
Good morning. You're on to Focus on Government and Development.
Hi, morning.
Morning, sir.
Okay, morning, Mr. Vince.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Okay, I don't know if you pick up the voice. This is Ronnie.
Ronnie?
Ronnie.
Yes, sir. Hey, how you doing, brother?
Okay, I just love to hear your big dreams for Dominica and the development.
Yeah.
But as an international man that travel and represent the government as ambassador, sometimes when all you travel to Dubai and all these great places, what are some of the marketing all you do for Dominica besides tourism? What about the local industries, the products we make, the wellness, the long life of the people, the centenarians? What is the other marketing? Because some people look for all these things.
True.
The healthy way now, because people don't want to go to this artificial medicine, the doctor medicine. What is the rule in this? Because I'm a small business person, I do manufacturing, and I saw a lot of top manufacturing like cool pot soup, different products, Bobby, Ophelia brother, sister Nats, Jody.
Yeah.
You have a minister right there, Joseph, she's a manufacturing local thing.
Yeah.
We was trying to get that building, Henderson, right at the bayfront there, the old Barracoon building. Mackenzie had this Buy Dominica product some years back, where you had all the vendors, the small business people bringing the product at the Buy Dominica. What is the dream for small business? And we still have a lot of issue to get the funds from the small business at the aid bank.
Yes,
Still suffering from that. Some get, some do get. What is the issue? Because when you're talking about development, you have to put all those things in, because the people don't just come here for their one.
That's right.
So I really want you to represent this.
Yes, brother. Yes,
all
brother.
right,
Okay.
morning.
Yeah, my good partner, man, Ronnie, a good brethren. I knew from way back when I was liquor minister, my partner. But good point. We can talk about that. I would love to have a conversation on Dexia, Bureau standards.
We could do that,
because this what Ronnie just said, that actually, interestingly, I've been seeking to put a meeting together with Invest Dominica and bringing in some different players to see how we can, what it is that we can do as foreign ministers, Ministry of International Business, Ministry of Trade. What is it that we can do to push? But Ronnie, we represent, when we go out, we do more than just talking about, visiting. We also promote the country in those terms. But we will have an opportunity where we'll be setting up an investment forum, where we'll be coordinating some activities, and I've started, as I said, a discussion, and I hope we can make some progress in the early part of the year, because I think that is important.
All right, let's talk about Granby.
Yeah. So because boy, I was telling you, it's a good thing you say that, because I get some messages there already. I want to again, thank my constituents, Granby, Tetmon, Mountain, people who've been very good to me, and we have a few things happening. I'm very happy this morning. I got up knowing that my partners and I'm going to start doing some work on Mopo Road, because I was there again yesterday and I was a bit disappointed that we're not able to start yet. I know there are some serious farmers up there. We've done the Makoto, some rehabilitation of that road there. We concluded it about 3 weeks ago. I want to thank Shan and his crew, them guys, especially from Ireland, who worked on that project, and thank you guys for not charging me too much, because it was sort of off a budget kind of project. We just decided we wanted to push it, and we've help from the Ministry of Works, Agriculture, everybody, PM especially. We're able to get some resources. The Chinese Embassy, thank you for your contribution as well. We're able to get that done, and we're hoping to do the same on the Mopo side, as the guys say that they will start ripping off the old road, and so that we can do some concrete pavement and move as far up as we can. There's an overall project for that, but in the interim, we're just trying to improve the conditions for the farmers there, and I'm that's very important to me, because also I want them to produce.
Yeah.
Because Dexter's asking me, Dexter keeps saying they need to buy stuff. So I need the farmers in the Grand Bay area, and Pichle farmers benefit from that too. Bellevue, they farm in the Mopo, and Ambrose George. You hear me, comrade, former Minister of Agriculture. So we're hoping to see more production there, and I met some farmers there yesterday, and I'm very happy that they appreciate the work, and they are committed to do more. So that is something good and exciting on Sunday. Jifa playing field for how many years it's been, Marcia? I can't remember now, boy. Since when we had an event there.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time since Maria destroyed our thing. Well, Erika gave it some blows. Mario just destroyed it. And we're going to actually have track and field there on Sunday. I spoke to Brandon Williams, and oh man, I'm excited. Because
You sound excited.
yeah, no, because we worked so hard on that, and it was really embarrassing at some point. People were laughing at me. They say things looking like Jurassic Park and things. Anyway, but we fixed it. And I have to thank Amo Thomas, teacher Willie Favre, and my partner Itai, Reggie Henry, the team, the whole guys, Abusu, all these fellas who came, and they help. And Cleo and her NEP team, of course, Leandra brought down the team from Tetmon Mountain. It was difficult in the early days, because you know what is Zacasia? It was so bad. We had all of those prickly trees, and it was difficult to root out. And we did it. And the guys showed up on weekends. We did it. I mean, people like Jeremy, my partner, who is now on the council. I want to thank him for that. He works at Doasco. He was able to run a line to ensure we can work on the wicket. Clyde started helping us. Clyde Pierre-Louis from Dublin. I hope he can continue. I hope he's hearing me, because we need the rest of the soil so we can complete it. And, so the wickets can be done. We have had discussions with DFA, and we're hoping that they can come up and, get the stuff done, put the goal posts, do the markings, and, let's just get stuff going. And that is one project I have seen people come together, community.
That's good.
And, for me, I appreciate that. And it's very exciting. It's very exciting. The next thing, we're going to have is start having some more games there. But also on the other end of the community, where we have the center playing field. Yesterday, there was a delegation from the Ministry of Sport.
That's right.
That visited, and soon we'll be seeing the lighting of the center playing field. And I'm hoping that we can do some improvements as well, because we need to do some fencing to ensure that, you're playing football, your ball can go. I mean, in St. John, we used to play football, and Shane hit our ball, and they see that going, but, you can't afford that. Now you have to make sure you have fence that can hold the thing. I mean, not every ball, but so we have to do some improvements there as well. And the basketball court, we had a proposal ready to do some resurfacing, and to get a nice turf there. So we're hoping to do that. And I'm talking about sport because it's something that's happening, and I think it's very important in the community.
Brings community together.
And I want to thank, Andy and his team, the footballers. They came to me last year. We made the goalposts for them for center. We did the markings of the field, and we're doing some improvements. The next thing is to ensure we can do some benches, so gradually just improve the place. The washroom is working, but fellas must stop breaking the door. So we have to keep improving those facilities and making sure that people can have good facilities to recreate and to entertain themselves. So we're working on that, and the next big thing for us, my biggest thing that I would hate to leave Grand Bay not having accomplished, is Makoto Spack Rehabilitation. Well, a whole new vision for that, and I'm hoping that we can see some movement this year. We tried last year, we did not quite get there. But I'm sure this year we will make some progress as I can deal with the farmers, because that has been a long-standing matter. We did some improvements. We had over $1.3 million invested on the Makoto Road in the early days, about a year ago when I just came in. But some areas were not done, so that's what we just completed, improved, and we've seen some new ones since the heavy rains. And we're hoping that we can do that. So once those things are done, the next big thing is really getting Makoto Spack rehabilitated, along with some number of things in the community. Center housing is coming on with the new facilities there. We're excited. We'll have a new community center, hurricane shelter. It will serve the people in that part of the community. We're hoping that under BNTF we can complete the community center where the village council currently is housed. And, a number of things that we're pushing. We've seen the reopening of the Granby Primary School. Still need some improvements, and there's some, but good. It's good stuff. I mean, great. I went there yesterday. We are hoping to add a surprise for the school and for the community. We will be installing a playground at the back of the school soon. Very exciting. And, it's something that we're looking forward to by the summer. I have spoken to our benefactor who will be covering the cost, so we're looking forward to that, and a number of things that we have been working on to improve the lives of people in the community, and I'm looking forward to a very exciting next few months.
That's why we need to talk more often, Honorable Henderson. Not only you, with all the government ministers, the parliamentary representatives, so we know about this thing.
The parliamentary representative thing, that's, I always say, I am funny on that one. So I know you're in the news thing and you're in the media and you advise us. So I will take your advice. But when you do things for people, they actually see you doing them. So I am more interested about some of the things that we're doing that people can't see and we don't talk about them. And I want to talk about trade next time. I want to talk about Dexia. I want to talk about Bureau of Standards, National, Standards Council. That is what I also want to have a chat with you on. So please feel free, let me know.
Let's meet up again, probably in early March. Does that work, or late February?
Hey, that works for me. You know me. I mean, as long as I haven't been behind a microphone, but I like the mic.
Yeah. I know.
No, but seriously, I mean, I'm prepared to that. I did it well with Mervyn Paul. Although we used to have those kind of dreadful hours. So I think you're very smart. You're too smart. You put this thing in the morning. We used to have this thing, and then fellas, but Mervyn Paul, we did some good stuff. Daryl, that was my boy. We did lots of programs in those days. So I'm very happy to have this, to be on with you in the morning when most people are listening.
Yes, and I thank you for coming. And we are on in the morning, but we have spoken to the other radio stations to repeat this program on Thursday on Cairo FM from 8 to 9 and on Wednesday on Q95 FM from 8 to 9. So we're all over the place.
Great.
And I look forward to having you again on this program. We've exhausted our time. And so I must go, Honorable Minister. Thank you so much for coming on.
I got to go too. So, but thank you. And, I was very happy when they invited me, but I was happier when they told me you were the host.
Aww.
So thank you.
That's sweet. Thank you so much. This has been Focus on Government and Development. We'll be back with you very soon. It's Carnival, so sometimes the programming, is a little bit unpredictable, but as much as possible, we'll be here with you on Fridays right here on DBS Radio with repeats on Cairo FM and Q95 FM on all our social media platforms. Do have yourselves a wonderful weekend.